I got an urgent call about a family of cats that had been unknowingly locked inside a house with no food or water for 4 weeks. The owner had died at home, alone, from dementia. Over the time of his illness, his home had deteriorated and his few cats became many. I headed over as fast as I could. As I waited for the key, I was told the majority of cats had been saved when the owner's body was finally discovered. Unfortunately, an unknown number of cats were overlooked and remained locked inside, still with no food or water. Through the window, I noticed toppled ornaments and paw prints in the dust. I was expecting the worst and took a deep breath before entering the house. My eyes darted around, dreading I'd see a dead cat, but wishing I'd hear a little meow. There's old cat food boxes in here, maybe they were. No, it's just rubbish. Yeah. I was hoping a cat might scurry past or pop out from a kitchen cabinet, but nothing, just a deafening silence. There was absolute stillness and a suffocating odour. Hey, where is he? Where is he? Let's turn on some lights. The cats used the bath as a litter tray until that was completely covered and had no option but to use the floor. Then a glimmer of hope. A source of water from a leaking pipe. I kept searching. Jackpot! I find life. A little ginger Tom trembling under mounds of clothes. And back downstairs, this female. It was soon clear that I'd need the trap, as there was no room to move and the cats were terrified. So I set the trap by the desk and shut the door. After 20 minutes, the trap activated and I was surprised who was in it. The ginger Tom from upstairs and a tiny sidekick. I transferred them to the carrier and reset the trap for the female. 25 minutes later, the terrified lady. 3 trapped. It was now close to midnight and I called it a day, leaving food and water out to see if there are any more cats in the property.
Hey, good girl. Good girl, good girl. That was
Once home, the female found a hiding spot.
Precious.
She was too scared to eat, but I slowly introduced the kitten to food. She was just weeks old and very underweight.
Beautiful boy.
The young ginger Tom, who actually ended up being the cheekiest of them all, was too scared to come out from his carrier. But he had his first proper meal in weeks. I needed to be able to handle them, so spent some time getting familiar.
You're bony, very bony.
Even though it was 2 a.m, I couldn't help myself and had a little play with the kitten before bedding them down for the night. The next morning, I headed back to the house and was told by neighbours that 2 cats had escaped when the owner's body was removed. An adult Tom and a female kitten had been sleeping rough in their outhouse. 2 weeks of sub-zero nights and little shelter. These 2 had had it the worst. I set the trap. 50 minutes later, the female kitten. 45 minutes later, meet Cookie, the older Tom of the family. Another long day, off home with the final 2. Over the next couple of days, all the younger cats went to a foster home and were quickly adopted after being spayed and neutered. That left me to rehabilitate and rehome Cookie. He was the most terrified of all the cats. At 4 years old, he'd witnessed it all. He just wanted to go back to a life that no longer existed. Cookie wasn't litter trained, didn't know what padding was, didn't understand play, and didn't trust nobody. He finally came down from on top of the kitchen cabinets, only appearing for his favourite chicken dinner.
Poor Cookie.
He started enjoying his heated bed and began some much-needed grooming. He was stressed and unpredictable, so I started patting him from a distance. The tension was intense.
Hey. Hey.
He started coming out in the open for his dinner, but was still shy and resistant. By week 3, he finally lost his fear of coming upstairs and took those brave steps. He started sleeping on the bed, dreaming that maybe tomorrow chicken will be on the menu. Once he discovered play, wow, there were no half measures. Now Cookie had warmed to his new lifestyle, was litter trained, loved attention, and had recovered from neutering, it was time to put him up for adoption. The Manchester Evening News heard of his story and published an article that a lovely local family saw. It was a perfect match, a big house and garden with 2 female rescue cats as friends. I know Cookie and all the cats are now safe, happy and loved. My job is done. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for joining me on another rescue.